Hi, Colton. I'm Deborah.
Hey, Deborah.
I met you at Momentum.
Yes, it's good to see you again. How are you?
Good to see you. You remember I had the light up shoes.
Yes, I remember. I remember the light up shoes. It's a hard thing to forget.
That's really cool.
It was such a blessing to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's going to be a good time.
Well, I'm JoAnne, and I didn't get to go to Momentum, so
Lame.
they allowed me to do this video
Oh,
interview. So
good.
I'm excited about that. Thanks for your time again.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, that's what I wanted to ask you first. Is like your journey since then. Like, can you just give us some God highlights between you are and the love I have for you?
Man, gosh, the highlights for me, I've been married for a little over 9 years. We're celebrating 10 years in January. That's a big old God highlight for me. My wife's incredible. We have, they're almost five now, but 4-year-old twins, two
Mhm.
girls. Another huge God highlight for me. The fact that I even get to continue doing this is a big old God highlight for me. I love getting to create music and to pour into, gosh, I really have a heart for this next generation coming up. But what's so cool is God has brought people from all different walks of life, all different ages. It's a big old family affair at our shows. We have really young kids basically having daycare at the front of the stage at our shows. But then like the grandparents are there too. And it's just a great time. I love that not just the music, but the message. It really hits every demographic. Yeah, those are just a few. God's done some really cool things through the career side, of course, but highlights for me are my wife and my kiddos.
That's awesome. So there was another song that when I first heard it, I was like, "Build a boat." I'm like, "Build a boat? Like, what is this?"
It's
It's
the next VBS theme song, is what it.
So, like, how did you imagine this? This is something that I always am, because, I tootle around writing things, not music,
Yeah,
voice tracks for the radio. And it's like you get these
sure.
little, like, tidbits every once in a while, and you're like, I want to do something with that. And I'm wondering, like,
Yes,
build a boat. What was it that came into your mind that kind of built that idea on that song?
sure. So I would say 99% of the time I walk into the studio and we come up with something, for lack of a better phrase, from scratch. We like to build it from the ground up. This song was not that. This song started as a pop song, originated out of Sweden, which is so weird and crazy, but there's a whole community of songwriters who write songs strictly for other people. So they'll shop their songs and the label I was with at the time, they heard the song and they're like, I could hear Colton singing a song like this. Of course, had a very different message, but the title was the same. It's called Build a Boat. And of course, I saw that title and I immediately thought, wow, Noah's Ark. That's really interesting. Of course, the song wasn't that, but I'm like, wow, what a cool and unique opportunity that we have to kind of restructure this song and rewrite it with the original writer's blessing, of course, to go in and kind of just create like what would I be feeling had I been in Noah's shoes? What would that look like? And even now in modern day, when God asks me to do something, what is my response going to be? So it's really just that turned into that anthem for me and for so many people who are kind of in that desert place. They're waiting on the miracle, but they're applying their faith and they're exercising their faith. But kind of a weird way to start a song, but that's the truth. It started in someone else's hands, and it took two different tries on our part trying to rewrite the song before we got it right. And there was even a moment where we didn't think the original writers were going to let us use it because they at first they preferred their version, and I totally get it. It's their song to begin with, but God worked it out, and I'm so glad.
That's awesome. Like, I see in your response a real sense of this is a spiritual journey, and here I am in the Lord's hands. This is the song that's in
Mhm.
your hands, let's say.
Yes. Yep.
You are in his hands, and you're like, you're doing your best. And he's like, well, let's just, mold this and give you this opportunity and bring this in. And you're like, what? What? How does that fit? And the process of even building the song and constructing it is very, very similar to how the Lord works in our own personal lives.
We so often want the promise or the miracle as the very next step. But sometimes it takes a few steps to get there. Even you look back at some of the big more well-known Bible characters, even just David and Goliath. God didn't ordain David and then immediately David fought Goliath. There were steps that had to be taken. He took on a lion and a bear and had a lot of other internal things, to deal with as well before he took on Goliath. I'm like, okay, God, whatever the Goliath is in my life, I just pray that my eyes are open to see the other steps along the way that will prepare me for that battle, whatever that is.
While you're busy running from, tour to tour and place to place, and you have this content that you're sharing with people. How does this travel, impact your time with the Lord? Like, what do
Mm.
you do to maintain your own connection?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that's a question we should ask anyone in my position. But I think there came a point in my life and even a few years into my career where I realized I had to make time with Jesus a non-negotiable, just like hopefully brushing your teeth is a non-negotiable, right? I had to have my time with Jesus because in my early career, I would just be like, man, I believed the lie that since I was in Christian music and I would take the stage and I'd be singing about God, that would kind of be my time. And when you're on the road, it's so easy to believe that. It's like I'm on tour with Third Day, it's like we're surrounded by godly people. This is good, but God's always wanting to do a new thing. But I think it's our responsibility to sit down with him and go, okay, what's next? Right? I don't think that he's going to force it on us. I think he's orchestrating things, his plan, his will, kind of behind the scenes already. But I don't know about you. I want to take part in it and I want to see what he's up to. So whenever you make that time with him a non-negotiable, I think he kind of gives you more and more peeks behind the curtain and allows you to be a part of it. And so that's been kind of the thing for me. It's like, all right, I want to see what you're up to. And each place that we go is a new and unique place. And I believe he does specific things in specific places. So I'm like, I want to see what you're doing, here at home in Tennessee, but I also want to see what you're doing in California and I want to see what you're doing in Texas. And so God, give me eyes to see what you're doing here as well. It's super important to just 15 minutes. And I'm sure you've heard that before, but it doesn't have to be a super long time, but just make time.
Are there scriptures that you hang on to or that have meant a lot to you or have inspired you?
Yes. And the big one for me is even in these last few years, kind of inspired this new song we have coming out called The Love I Have for You, is balancing work and family. I'm the type of person who, like, I can dive into work and really get tunnel vision and just see whatever it is through. But then I've realized in doing that, family side suffers, right? That's not handling that in a healthy way. So trying to do it my own way for so long left me just kind of at the end of it going, I am just running on empty. I'm on fumes. God, I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. Two scriptures. One, it's in Romans 8, kind of toward the end of that chapter, but it says that we are more than conquerors, which kind of blows my mind. Conquerors would have been just fine for me, but he says we're more than conquerors because of the love that lives inside of us, right? And I'm just like, that's almost like an arrogant thing if you told someone I'm a conqueror. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing that you see in movies that you're like, wow, he's very, very confident, But God calls us even more than that. So I'm just like, okay, no matter what it is, I'm able to do it to the best of my ability. Not even just that, but also because of who lives inside of me. I'm gonna see it through and I'm gonna more than overcome. I'm gonna conquer it. So that's kind of what inspired that song. A verse that I really stood on as well, pertaining to family. It's in Matthew 19, and it basically says, "He who leaves his home, his business, his family," it lists off several things, "for my name's sake shall receive a hundredfold and inherit eternal life." I understood that verse for the first time just a couple years ago, and I'm like, wow, God, you wrote this verse for people like me, who you've called out into the world to tell people about you. All the while, my family is at home. My wife is taking care of kiddos, and there are days where I'm like, God, I miss my family. I'm so thankful for this gift and for this calling, but I miss my family. I think I'd rather be home right now. And it's in those moments that he reminds me of that verse. He's like, trust me, it's worth it. I'll make up the time. Don't worry about that. So that verse is what I've been standing on a lot.
That's a tough one. And it's
Yeah,
just,
he gives us grace to do it, but there are moments. Yeah.
and there's times when you interpret that and you're like, what? But what about honoring your mother and your father and, the tension between different scriptures and that, it's
Yeah.
tough. It's tough. So that inspired you for which song? The Love I Have for You?
The Love I Have for You. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that was one of my questions. How did that song come to be? But is that part of what you just shared then, how that song maybe came to be?
Yeah, a little bit, work-life balance and just kind of reaching a point. So thankful for these last couple of years, but it's been nonstop, just go, go, go. I'm so grateful that we had a song do as well as it did and build a boat, but that really just kicked things into high gear. And my wife and I both, it felt like, all right, it's go time. It's time to take the song to the people and to sing it in the room with them because we realized how impactful the song was. But we've just been road dogs, for 2, 3 years. So that I reached a point several times. I'm like, God, this is a lot, I'm tired. My voice is tired. I'm pushing through. I don't know how much longer I can do this. And he took me to Romans 8. The verses really are more on like the natural side, like that coming to the end of yourself side of
Right.
like, man, I woke up this morning and I felt anxious and it's happening more and more and I can't really explain it. And, I've never been that way ever in my life. I don't consider myself an anxious person. But then, the right before the chorus hits, it's like, man, if he said it once, he'll say it 1,000 times. If he did it once, he'll do it 1,000 times. So it dives into, with the love I have for you, there's nothing that you can't do. You are more than a conqueror, right? So I just go through a bunch of different scenarios and try and pump people up like, hey, even when it's tough to get out of bed, just know that God sees you this way. And I believe that's how you should see yourself.
Yeah. I read about young millennials and younger getting to a point where they call it crashing out. I don't know if you've ever heard that term, but I was reading this article and it
And I
was like
have,
Bieber and, some other people and just everyday, and of course, just everyday people. And on TikTok, they're talking about ways that you could handle your emotions by crashing out. And so there's people at that
interesting.
age group offering suggestions of how do you deal with this. And
Mm,
unfortunately, some of the ideas have led to some tragedies and even suicide. And
mm.
it reminds me a little bit of what you're saying, where you get to a point where you feel like you can't do this anymore, but here you have your message of more than conqueror being, and yet these folks don't. What is it that we could do on our radio? What songs, what can we offer this generation that would give them something to do instead of some of these suggestions on TikTok? They're not helping.
Yeah, that's really tough. I think it goes into more than just the right songs. Something that I've had to learn, I'll be honest with you, if TikTok was canceled once and for all, I would be so happy for multiple reasons. Selfishly, one of the main reasons is it's one less social media platforms that I have to manage. But
Yeah,
what I realized is there's a different demographic that goes to TikTok than goes to Instagram. And same could be said for Instagram and Facebook. And I'm
true.
like, okay, if those kids aren't going to go to church, they're not going to turn on Christian radio, if they're not going to go to a Christian concert, where do they go? How can we still reach them? And so you kind of just have to go where they are, which is TikTok, which is, whatever the new thing is, that's where they're going to be. But they can sniff out when you're not real or not authentic. They're way smarter than we give them credit. I think you go where they are. But one thing you have to remember is you cannot compromise message. I know he's blowing up and I just love what he's doing. But I think a perfect example of that is Forrest Frank. He sounds, even his approach to things fits right in with that young demographic, but he does not compromise on message one bit. If anything, he's kind of had the opposite approach to so many Christian artists, including myself, thinking we need to thread this line between church people and non-church people, trying to make things accessible for everyone. And in doing that, if you're not careful, you can water down a message. And here's this guy who's just so unapologetically like, this is it. I love that. It's encouraged, but it's even kind of whipped my thinking into shape of going, I don't have to play this game of, trying to make this fit in this perfect little thing that's successful by both. I think that's Holy Spirit's job to get it to the right people. I need to be unapologetically what God has called me to do. you know? That's a really big conversation, I think. I'm seeing people do it really well. So I think the best thing we could do is look at those people and go, okay, what are they doing that's working? And how can we learn from that? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm trying to do.
And there's many parts of the body, as we know. So Forrest Frank
Yes.
had his venue, and you have yours, and collectively, we
Yes,
like Christ. So I know
absolutely.
at a time, I have really thank you so much for this. Now I know you're coming up on a tour. We're glad that we're going to see you. But like, what's coming up for you between now and like August? Where you headed out
Yeah,
to?
man, we're all over the place. We're in Alaska. We're
Wow,
what's
cool.
so cool is I'm going to Sweden for the first time and I'm getting to write with the original writers of
Oh,
Build a Boat.
wow.
So I'm so excited about that. I'm excited to see what God does in the room. I'm not sure where their stance is on faith and all those things. So I'm really excited to get to work on some songs ground up with them. And yeah, that'll be really cool. But we're all over the place playing shows and we've got a little vacation kind of top of September as well. We're gonna head over to Europe. We're really excited about that. So it's a busy summer, but we're excited and we've got new music. So we'll have The
Yeah.
Love I Have for You, I want to say is coming out this month. I don't remember the date.
He's so excited about your new.
Yeah, I'm really pumped. We've been sitting on these songs for almost a year. Just due to some politics, we've not been able to get them out as soon as we wanted. But we're here, we're doing it, and I believe it's for the right time too. So yeah, we're excited. Don't get me wrong, I'm very excited for The Love I Have for You. We wrote In Spite of Me first, and I have been secretly championing that song to my team for over a year. And whether it's a single at radio or just a song at social media or a song that we play live, we've already seen and heard stories and testimonies of people who maybe they were just idol fans at a show, whatever. They turned away from church. They'd seen, experienced too much. But even just with what's going on in the industry right now, man, I feel the importance of that song. I'm working on getting that one released. I mean, just after The Love I Have for You. I think Love I Have for You is end of July. So hopefully August or September we can get In Spite of Me out. So yeah, come
Awesome.
on. Thank you
Come
guys
on.
so much.
Good.
Yeah.
That's really great. Well, let's just close in prayer. We'll pray for you,
Yep.
and we'll see you in August.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great whatever you're doing.
I
See you in
appreciate it. Thank
August.
you. You guys too. You
All
have a
right.
great day. All right, bye.
Bye.